Hi, this is Heather Housel with First Coast Legacy Law. I am outside in beautiful Fernandina Beach on the river because it is such a pretty day. Just wanted to talk to you guys about what a complex estate plan is. So I had a client call this week and they just were asking about the process. What does an estate plan entail? What does it mean? What does the process look like? And one of the very insightful questions that he asked was, what makes the estate plan complex? Well, I have 4 generic categories that I would consider complex for estate planning purposes. The first one that generally comes to mind that's most common is blended families. So if you have a blended family where you have children from a prior marriage and now you've entered a wonderful new marriage, happens for lots of reasons and it can be a wonderful thing. But you have to be conscious that you want your children to receive their inheritance from you regardless of what happens to your spouse after you die. And so you want to make sure that your intended beneficiaries remain such. And so that can be add a little bit of complication. While we hope that everything goes smoothly and relationships are great, we have to plan for a number of situations because every family circumstance is different. So planning for those contingencies makes things a little more complex, adds a little bit more complication to the planning process. Definitely something we can handle, but a little more complex. Another example of a complex estate plan is if you own a business. So businesses can be taxed in various ways. So whether you're taxed as a bypass entity, as a single member LLC, or if you have multi-member LLC, there's different tax consequences for the way that you hold your business. And so that can be a little bit of more complexity when you're talking about maybe putting your LLC interest or your business interest in a trust versus maybe adding your legacy planning or succession planning in your operating agreement or in your bylaws or in some other aspect of your business planning, business docs. So definitely something that we would have to talk a little bit more through, give some more options and more complexity in planning. A third complexity that I often run into, well, don't often run into, but that is a possibility, is if you have assets in excess of or at or near the federal estate tax threshold. So the federal estate tax threshold in 2026 is $15 million for an individual or $30 million for a couple. If you are in that range, you need to be talking to a tax attorney. And so I say that it can come up. I have not had to interact with someone that has been at that threshold just because most of my clients are everyday folks that don't have $15 million or $30 million if they're a couple. And so if they come to me, I would advise them to go to a tax attorney who can do some more in-depth and ongoing planning for them. The fourth circumstance that might come up is a little more common, and that would be if you have a family member or an intended beneficiary who might be what we consider a spendthrift. And a spendthrift can be someone that might just not be great with money, and you want to provide some extra precautions and safeguards for them receiving their assets, or if there's some kind of addictive behavior, such as an alcohol addiction or a substance addiction or some kind of a gambling addiction. Those are situations that might also be considered complex. So none of these things are things that we have to stress over. They're just things that we plan for. Estate planning is all about considering contingencies. It's all about planning for the unexpected. And it's all about making sure that you have peace of mind knowing that whatever unique family situation you're in, that we can take care of that. So that's what might make it a little more complex. We might spend a little more time. You might need a little bit more of a complex estate plan, but certainly something we can handle and certainly something that we want you to take care of. So if you are considering doing your estate plan, getting that drafted, talking through the steps, come see us at First Coast Legacy Law. We would love to talk you through that, help you through that, and just make sure that you have peace of mind for your family and for the legacy that you're passing.